What if sustainability didn't start with government policy or high-tech innovation, but on your plate? On Taiwan's East Coast, the Taitung Slow Food Festival brings together farmers, chefs, and people. It directly addresses the intertwined issues of climate change, food waste, and disconnection from the land. From using leaves as tableware to rethinking how we wildcraft, this event offers a living model of sustainability. Today, we are joined by festival curator Kuo Li-chin to explore how food, stories, and small choices can shape a more sustainable future, one meal at a time. Welcome to Sustainable Footprints SDG in Taiwan. Hi, Li-chin.
Hi, hello everyone.
When we think about sustainability, we already think about like government policy, carbon emission, green energy. But for you, it seems like you start from the plate. Can you tell me your personal definition of sustainability?
Okay, from my point of view, I think sustainability is about relationship. It's a relationship with nature, with our community, and the future generations. When we choose to eat locally, choose to eat seasonally, and we know how to cherish the products from farmers and the food producers, we already living sustainably. So from my point of view, sustainability, it's about a series of action. Start from knowing how to keep the balance between human and nature.
For our international audiences or listener, they probably is less known about Taitung. And as far as I know, Slow Food Festival actually take place a lot in many years in Taitung. Why do you pick Taitung as this event?
It's not I picked Taitung as a place for practice slow food. Somehow I think it's Taitung pick us.
Pick you.
Pick me.
It's a destiny, huh?
Yeah, Taitung is with lots of natural resource like mountain and ocean. Especially we have 176 kilometer the coastal line.
Wow, that's very long, huh?
Yeah, so we have a lot of seafood, of course, and the ocean resources, and of course we have a beautiful valley and the eastern area mountains. So I think Taitung is a place I think perfectly for carry out slow food, also because the ethnic group is very diversity. The diversity brings lots of variety of food culture.
Okay.
But some of them rapidly disappear nowadays.
Okay.
So when slow food movement, the concept comes into Taitung, it's like a very rapidly awareness for local people to think, wow, actually there are variety kind of food heritage in Taitung, but we never notice about that, and we don't know how to produce those delicious food in commercial way. Taitung Slow Food Festival create a platform for the local people to co-create and co-learn together to discover the local food heritage and try to carry out and maybe do some new innovation and share with audience, with public through Taitung Slow Food Festival.
It sounds like I can't help jump in because it sounds like you have deep feeling with, in Taitung. Is there any personal relation over there, or?
I think the story will come from like 15 years ago. At that time, I am an urban planner. I take care of local economic development in Eastern Coast area, including Hualien and Taitung.
Okay.
So at that time, we are doing sustainable society, sustainable in economic, and sustainable environment. Three dimension of the sustainability. We try to engage some actions over policies to eastern Taiwan, including Hualien and Taitung. At the time, Taitung County government start to develop the tourism. We do some empowerment jobs with local restaurants and the local chef and the cooks. After several years, then comes out Slow Food Festival. After 3 years, then I immigrate myself from Taipei to Taitung and stay there and I do the job and runs my own company. And so at that time, my team and I more focus on slow food movement and any possibility from local which could connect with slow food concept.
Okay.
So it bursts out many variety kind of actions about slow food, slow travel, slow design.
Yeah, it must be very different from when you live in Taipei, huh?
It looks like it's my personal choices about my life, but actually me and my team, we put a lot of emphasis on how to help Taitung to become a real good place for slow life.
Li-chin, actually, because I'm a risk manager, so we always talk about the food safety, something like, from the farm to the table. So I'm just wondering, is there any different, or you can tell me more about Slow Food Festival, what the event really is?
Slow Food Festival in Taitung start from 2017. We gather the cooks, chefs, farmers everywhere from Taitung. So they share their food culture to the audience. And they gather together maybe around 40 to 50 booths at that time. The indigenous food culture or the Hakka people, maybe after second immigrant process and settle down in Taitung, they also brings their own food culture, but it's being different from Western Hakka food already. So variety atmosphere and variety kind of different indigenous people's food, no matter it's Amis, Taiwan, or Bunun. So Taitung Slow Food Festival actually every half a year a time gather cooks and chefs join together to share their own food culture. So it's already excited for the foodies, You can just visit Taitung downtown city one time and you can test no matter it's from the people, the tribe from mountain or from the seaside area. But I think most impressed the audience, it's we don't use one-time utensil. People have to bring their own tableware, and if you forget about it, you can rent tableware in this festival. Cooks, the shops, they will prepare, many of them will prepare natural utensils, maybe from leaves, from some part of the plants. So actually it's from local wisdom.
Oh, okay.
Especially like indigenous people's tribe, their local wisdom. So this is somehow why Taitung Slow Food Festival being said that we are quite zero waste, because we don't lift any trash that is from one-time utensils.
Yeah, I like the idea because even I'm a little bit old, but back in like 20 years ago, people start to, talk about we don't use the disposable tableware. We always bring, our own chopstick, our own spoon, or even forks. But it never implement thoroughly in cities, but it seems like it's very good at the practice in Taitung.
Yes, it's in the beginning, maybe from 2017, 18, at that time, maybe only 10% to 20% tourists. Nowadays, almost 50 to 60%.
Wow.
They will bring their own tableware.
That's very good ratio. Going forward, my next question is, if we're using so many leaves or fabrics or a lot of things locally, and can you tell me about the idea of wildcrafting? I suppose wildcrafting will play more important role here.
Yeah. Luckily in Taitung, we are surrounded by nature, so it's easy to wildcrafting. So maybe you just step out from your house and there will be many trees. In like 5 minutes to 10 minutes driving car, you will drive into a forest. I could say that maybe almost every cooks in Taitung, they know how to wildcrafting.
Wow, that's amazing.
It's their daily life. Wildcrafting become a knowledge system. What kind of leaves is okay for packing, and what kind of leaves no you cannot use when the dishes is hot, and they learn together with each other and with the elder people in the tribes.
I think Slow Food Festival is not just an event. It's like sounds like a living classroom. So how do you design the experience for people who just not just come to eat, but also they have the behavior change or resonate or any inspiration?
Taitung Slow Food Festival, we provide delicious food. It's like a attracting point, and try to attract a lot of people and tourists to come.
Yeah.
But actually, when they are in the festival, they will test the food and to know the story, the culture behind the food. And we also create dialogue process between farmers and the cooks. So the audience, the tourists, they can listen and understand how the food is made. So we will have workshops. Last year, we have the festival. It's called the Food Education Banquet. And at that time, we make some workshops for kids.
Are there many foreigners? I mean, from other countries? Not
Yeah,
just...
also recently, this few years, there are more and more foreigner tourists take Taitung Slow Food Festival as a destination. And they are maybe more curious about, how and why you make this kind of food. And of course, they will know more local food stories from Taitung. So that's why Taitung Slow Food Festival is so charming for, especially when they are to visit Taitung in their first time. And also there are many new immigrants, like a young generation. They
from other county and cities.
Yeah, they choose the different lifestyle, and they take Taitung as a dream destination.
That sounds great. Yeah.
And they also want to share their own lifestyle and their stories through food. So in our slow food community, there are maybe 1/3 is local group, and maybe 1/3 it's immigrant from other countries, no matter is elder generation or young generation, because nowadays they are not just young generation but also retired generation. They were immigrant to Taitung, and they are also want to maybe share their own food culture.
Will you share with me, is there a moment for you that you feel most impressed or most touched by singing in the during the festival?
It's been several years, so there are lots of touching stories. Yeah. So what satisfied me or what touched me is you will see the young kids, the kids will learn how to prepare the food and also to attend.
While crafting?
Also, they will prepare their own utensil.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
And to the festival together and the zero waste. And I will feel very optimistic about our new generation.
Yeah.
What touched me is not just the changes from tourists or from kids, but also there are many our slow food members learned with each other and know more about local ingredients and know how to prepare the food more creativity or more related to a local tradition or local wisdom. There will be more local stories. Maybe they are going to disappear sooner when there is no one to learn such kind of local recipe.
So do you think those every year there must be some new participants to these events? Do you think they are reshaping the Slow Food Festival? Are they kind of create a new scenario of this festival?
Yeah, I think gradually Taitung Slow Food Festival help the whole Taitung to rediscover local food heritage, but also will redefine what is Taitung cuisine. So nowadays, if you type Taitung cuisine, Taitung cai, to ask ChatGPT, he will answer you that you should go to Taitung Slow Food Festival.
Oh, that's quite an achievement.
Really.
As far as I know, Slow Food Festival has already gone to the international stage, like Italy. Can you share with us some stories about that and any lesson learned or any inspiration?
Yeah, for many of our slow food members, it's impossible to imagine that one day they can step in the global stage to share their own food culture. But we made it last year. We attend a global slow food gathering. It's called Terra Madre. So every 2 years, they have this kind of global gathering. And at that time, this is also not just for Taitung, it's also for Taiwan. For the very first time, we have the like a national exhibition scales in the venue. So we share our food story and of course our sustainable practice. Even the venue, they have the one-time utensil. But we don't use it, and we collect local lips from Italy to pack the food we serve. We learn a lot from that Terra Madre, the global event. You never think about it. It can go abroad and to share with so many foreigners. They were so curious about what is Taitung and where is Taitung and what is the Taitung food looks like. So it's a very crowded and many people gathering in front of our booths and curious about Taitung's food culture. And our slow food members, they have the most wonderful opportunity to share their own food culture, like melted white or sticky rice white, how they like and unlike Japanese sake. So
Okay.
people will learn how to explain their own food culture in a more global way, and also our sustainable practice. I mean, we don't use one-time utensil. This is also impress the audience a lot. So back to Taitung, I think many our slow food members who attended this event, they feel more confidence about Taitung's food culture. We do have something here.
Yeah,
And,
something they can really proud of.
And of course, they also share what they learn and what they know about this global event back to their own community to share maybe their elder people. They maybe learn those traditional recipe from elders. And they bring this global experience back to community and to share with those elders. And they can feel about that. I was recognized by elders again.
Okay.
Yeah, so this I think means a lot to our slow food members.
I would like to extend my question. So what's your next step for the Slow Food Festival?
Of course, I think Slow Food Festival is like a already classic branded festival of Taitung. But for our next step, I think we will continue rediscover the local food culture and try to sustain those food culture. But in the other hand, we are going to set up a slow food house, a physical place. We will have a real slow food house in Taitung soon. It will open 2026.
Oh, that's
And-
soon.
Yeah.
Is that a center or a classroom or a dining place, a restaurant, or can you tell me more about that?
All you said is yes.
Okay.
And of course, it's also a platform for everyone who want to learn and exchange food culture will happen there. So nowadays, Slow Food headquarters greatly support us to set up this Slow Food house. So it must be globally. We will host a lot of slow food network all over the world to Taitung. We now have a Taitung Slow Food Convenient. The Convenient is sort of a branch community.
My last question is, can you advise to our audiences and listeners what small action they can really take every day?
I would say that with more awareness of what you eat, you are what you eat, and with more awareness of the food choices. Okay, try to know who made this and where the ingredients came from, and support the farmers around you. So I think you can start from your daily life.
Well, thank you very much for your time. Thank you so much, and thank you for sharing your experience and insight today.
Thank you.
I appreciate Li-chin for sharing how slow food is not just about what we eat, but what we live with care, with awareness, and with connection to people and the land. I'm your host, Pai Pei-hua. Thank you for your time. I see you next time.